Those are the latest figures. We'll continue to push through it. There will always be, obviously, as there always are, and you know this.
You don't sound very sure, Prime Minister.
Oh, well, we're doing absolutely everything we can. We set an ambitious target. I think we are. In terms of timing, I'd say I want to get flights off as soon as practically possible.
You need some planes to do that.
We do, but we also set.
Thank you, Dame Diana.
New returns agreement, record returns, arrivals down by 90%.
Well,
I think that's a pretty good indication that deterrent.
Oh, he's getting awfully tetchy, isn't he? Now, if you don't know, that's Dame Diana Johnson, the chair of the Home Affairs Select Committee, giving our out-of-depth Prime Minister Rishi Sunak the runaround on a number of subjects surrounding his flagship Stop the Boats legislation at yesterday's Liaison Committee meeting.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Prime Minister. I want to ask you about 3 areas where you've made pledges or promises, and I'm going to ask short questions, so I'd very much appreciate short answers. The first one is around the legacy backlog in the Home Office, and you promised that that would be cleared by the end of this year, 92,000 cases. Will you have achieved that?
Well, we're not at the end of the year yet, so the final statistics have not been published, but we are making very good progress. I think the last published numbers show that the backlog is down by 80%, from 92,000 down to 18,000, and that has partly come about because we've doubled the number of caseworkers.
Yes, we know that, Prime Minister. I just want to know whether you think you're going to meet the target that you've set yourself.
I said those are the latest figures. We'll continue to push through it. There will always be, obviously, as there always are, and you know this.
You don't sound very sure, Prime Minister.
Oh, well, we're doing absolutely everything we can. We set an ambitious target. I think when I was here, you were sceptical that we would get anywhere close to it, but it's already down by 80%.
80%, but you did say by the end of the year, and that's just a few days. Can I ask you then, what about the other 91,000 that's sitting there in the other backlog? When do you think that will be cleared?
Well, with the overall asylum backlog, I think at the same time as the 92 was about 131,000. That is down by 16%. Now, obviously, that's impacted by
when do you think it will be cleared, Prime Minister?
I don't have a.
You don't have an idea when that will be cleared. The 91,000.
I know we haven't set a target for that publicly, but obviously, once the priority was clearing the initial legacy asylum backlog.
But you're not sure you'll do that.
Well,
okay.
Your words, not mine. We remain on track to do it, but we're not at the end of the year.
Right. Well, I'm keen that I move on to my second question to you, which is about the pledge you made to stop the boats. So when will you have stopped the boats?
What's the date for that? Well, the first thing to say is we have made progress, and that is that the numbers this year are down by a third. Which is considerable progress.
They're still the second highest on record, though, aren't they, this year?
They are, for the first ever time, down.
They're still the second highest, but what is the date?
There isn't a firm date on this, because I've always been clear from the beginning.
You said you're going to stop the boat, so I just want to know
what the date is. And we will keep going until we do.
Okay.
But this is not one of these things where there's a precise date estimate on it.
You don't have a date?
This is something where, before I took this job, they had only ever gone up.
Okay.
And now they're down by a third. And an important part of finishing the job is having a deterrent for everybody.
Well, can I come on to that? Because that's the Rwanda policy. So you've said that you want to see planes take off by the spring to Rwanda. That's one of the things you've said. Now, I understand that no airline is willing to actually contract with government to remove people to Rwanda because of reputational damage. Is that correct? There isn't an airline that you've got lined up to remove people?
I think we are, in terms of timing, I'd say I want to get flights off as soon as practically possible.
You need some planes to do that.
We do, but we also need to be able to pass the legislation through Parliament first.
Right, but on the plane point, which I'm asking you specifically about, do you have an airline that's ready to go?
I'm confident we will have the ability to send people to Rwanda.
But you
there
don't
are
have
many
an airline.
steps. You wouldn't expect me to comment on commercial conversations that are necessarily private, but I'm highly confident that we can operationalise the bill in all its aspects.
Okay.
That's not just about flights. There's many different steps that you need. But the legislation needs to get through Parliament first.
Okay, so we're not
and
clear...
as quickly as it passes, then we will work to operationalise the bill.
Any airlines. Okay. The Migration and Economic Development Plan, which you signed up to when you were Chancellor, I think, with the then Home Secretary, we know that 290 million now has been spent or is about to be spent in the next few months. Could you just tell the Liaison Committee how much the total amount that you signed up to for that 5-year plan, How much else? What's the amount that we've got to pay in addition to the 290?
I think you know full well, because the Home Secretary has said this in Parliament multiple times before. We disclose these things on an annual basis, and beyond that we've disclosed the most recent numbers.
Do you think that fits with your...
Now, what happened here was there seemed to be a bit of a malfunction with the live stream from their end, and just blacked out for a couple of seconds, where Dame Diana Johnson was saying, "Do you think it fits with your claim about professionalism, integrity and accountability that we cannot actually know?"
How much you've agreed will be sent to Rwanda?
As I said, it's absolutely right for what are commercially sensitive negotiations, that there is a degree of ability for the government to negotiate these things and then provide the appropriate level of transparency to Parliament, which it's doing on an annual basis.
So could I just ask you, the Deputy Prime Minister at the weekend said that the funding for Rwanda was unlimited. Is that correct?
I think what he's saying is the scheme is uncapped.
No, he said unlimited funding when he was pressed. I think it was on Times Radio.
I'm not sure. I didn't hear that. I'm not sure what I recognise. But the scheme in itself is uncapped, so we have the ability to send multiple people there. Obviously, there will be a degree of volume payments as well as fixed cost, which is
and is that the £169,000 per person that it'll cost to send someone to Rwanda? Is the Home Affairs, the Home Office impact assessment put forward?
I don't think that's an accurate characterisation of it, because what we don't know is the deterrent effect. Until the scheme has been operated, what we won't know is the final deterrent effect. Our belief is that there will be a significant deterrent effect, and that has to be compared. The cost of this scheme has to be compared against the counterfactual, where the costs are forecast to rise into the double-digit billions of pounds for the asylum system if the numbers continue to rise. Now, so this has to be compared to what that counterfactual...
Last question.
Can I just ask you on that point, does it worry you at all that the Permanent Secretary at the Home Office is still not willing to sign the Rwanda policy off because of the lack of value for money?
That's absolutely not what they said. They said it was entirely proper to pursue this scheme.
There was a ministerial direction,
yeah, and if you read the letter, I can find you the quote, they actually were very clear that it was it's perfectly proper for the government to continue with this scheme at the time. No, because we're trying something that's never been done before.
I understand that, Prime Minister.
But I think the words they used were it was regular, proper and feasible for the Home Secretary to proceed with this policy in light of the illegal migration challenge that the UK is facing. It's a matter of record that a direction was required, because we're doing something that hasn't been tried
because
before.
There's no evidence it'll work. I think
but
that's
by definition, when you're doing something that hasn't... Well, actually, no, I do challenge that. We do have evidence that deterrence works, and our Albania partnership is evidence.
That's very different, Prime Minister.
Not really. It's a returns agreement with a country which allows us to return the vast majority of people who arrive illegally.
We have to move on.
I'll just finish it. You said there's no evidence. We have a returns agreement with Albania that's returned 5,000 people this country.
Not small boats.
The numbers from Albania...
Not small boats.
All returns serve to build a deterrent. The number of arrivals from Albania is down by 90%.
Thank you, Dame Diana.
New returns agreement, record returns, arrivals down by 90%.
Well,
I think that's a pretty good indication that deterrence and returns works.
Dame Meg Hillier.
Now, if you thought our Dame Diana Johnson was tough, Prime Minister, that's a stroll in the park compared to our Dame Meg Hillier, believe me. But that's for a later video, my friends. Oh, proper ripped him a new one she did. But I do enjoy watching Dame Diana Johnson at these select committee meetings, especially at liaison committee meetings too. Be it making our Prime Minister look totally out of his depth on his flagship policy, or getting a former Prime Minister to practically admit that he's nothing more than a Russian stooge. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below, and I shall bid you farewell and take care, my friends.